Good evening, everybody. We got here a 1v1 Pro Arabia game right now, and this game is between MbL and Dark. Of course, MbL being a little bit more popular than Dark, but both of them being top level players each. I will just speed it up as we go through the Dark Age. So, in the west side of the map, we do have in the blue playing as the Magyars, MbL, and then in the yellow playing as the Teutons, Dark. So what can we expect? Well, based on the maps, fairly closed off. He has to go quite a bit away from his town center to fully close off Dark.
Yeah.
But he does have gold in the back, 2 stones in the back, so that is a little bit safer. I probably would expect him to do a little bit of a wall off, but right here is just so awkward, so he might end up just walling in here, leaving him a little bit more vulnerable. And then when we look at MbL on the other side, well, he's already starting his wall off. He's going to go across here, little wall here, and again, a little bit open on the side. So both of them having fairly even bases. The difference, of course, being forward berries for Dark, back berries for MbL. So that gives a little bit of an advantage in the Dark Age should there be any rushes, and should there be early scout rushes from either player. So, of course, with the Magyars, we do expect to see some sort of cavalry moving forward with that +1 attack advantage that the Magyars do have going into the next age. That really gives them the heads up and big advantage when going to scout battles. And then with the Teutons, they are big wall off on the front, actually, surprising. They are likely going to be also going for some form of cavalry. Teutons a pretty strong cavalry civilization, and the quick walls in here, the villager will come to protect. And this is bad, horrible for Dark. Losing that scout early. The scout of MbL still with 3 HP, so not fantastic, but better to have a weak scout than a dead scout, right? And these walls, Dark is choosing to go all the way forward here for these wall offs. That is very risky. Just quite a bit of walling that's needed. And will it be worth it? Obviously, if these palisades do get attacked throughout the game by scouts, there is nothing really that Dark can do to wall behind unless he decides to double palisade, which is a possibility, of course, but still a bit of a risk. MbL is going for a much slower feudal, probably going to go for a fast castle age, whereas Dark is going straight into the feudal age as quickly as he could. Double palisading here, but choosing not to double palisade on the southern side of his base. Interesting choice there. Dark actually looks like he's just doing a different build than expected. He did accidentally drop that archery range, but then changed it into a stable really quickly. And he will be able to go up to the castle age fairly shortly here, as he does have 600 food, 320 gold, and now has both of the buildings required. Taking a look at the vill counts, obviously with MbL already clicking up to the next age, he will have the economic advantage should he drop more town centers, but it looks like he's going to go for an archer approach. Interesting choice for Magyars. I'm confident that he will likely be going for cavalry archers. Magyars having very strong cavalry archers, but no scouts, so that is good to see as we see a forward from Dark, and I will now slow it down a little bit as the second stable is coming forward. He will be looking to get knights out as soon as possible, even killing this deer just to deny that extra little bit of food from his enemy. MbL will be faster up to the next age, and neither really dropping too many military units, just the 2 spearmen out right now for Dark, and just causing a little bit of a nuisance. But cavalry archers out, that will be no problem. They will be cleaned up almost immediately, as 2 cavalry archers are already being produced, and a couple eco upgraded are coming in as the castle age is hit for Dark. and he immediately drops a couple of knights. These cavalry archers coming forward, and a siege workshop from these villagers, but will the villagers get picked off? That is the question. If these cavalry archers can pick off these 2 forward villagers, that is massive. But the knights come out. The knight, one knight, enough to scare away these cavalry archers in this low numbers. It's not quite enough to engage. But the villagers, weird mistake there. And the first one down. The second one looks like he's going to go down too. But 2 knights in response. Scout is down, trying to micro these shots. Cavalry archers obviously having pretty bad aim in comparison to other units. So the villagers do go down, but the 2 buildings that are needed are already up. We do have the stable, we do have the siege workshop, a monastery coming up in defense for MbL. And he's going to look to play a little bit more defensively. He does have this 2nd town center already up, 3rd town center on its way, and just the 1 TC push from Dark for now, as he is already in with a massive military lead. This monastery will likely be a target, but choosing to go for the archery ranges first even picks off that villager on the farm. Such an irritating situation for MbL to deal with, as they both have 35 villagers right now, but the pressure is on. Dark still just on 1 town center. He is going to maintain that 1 town center push as the monks are starting to come out and able to jump inside and outside those town centers just to add that little bit of extra attack, little bit of extra secrecy, and hide back and forth, heal up a little bit, jump behind, jump to the other side, avoid the mangonel hits. That's always a good play. Speaking of the mangonel hits, this town center is dropping down pretty significantly in HP as the cavalry archers have gone forward, unable at this point in time to get a pick off, but the monk falls down, and this 1 mangonel is already down as well. But the knights in response, this is a large amount of knights, and now both archery ranges have fallen down. So militarily, MbL is going to have a lot more difficulty picking off with his minimal ability to rebuild his army. Every shot is going to be more important now against MbL, just due to the fact that he is not able to reproduce at all. If you look at his military buildings, he's got this barracks, siege workshop, no archery ranges at all, no stable at all. This barracks is going down. He is just relying on his economy and his siege workshop, so bit of a risk, and I think it's about time where he needs to add more than just the monks. Getting a couple of conversions will be great, but what he really needs is military numbers. Economically, he only has a 3 villager lead right now. The 1 knight does not get converted somehow. That is interesting. Of course, Teutons are a little bit stronger against conversions. So archery ranges coming back up, but honestly, only 8 cavalry archers. He is pushed into this corner, unable to collect wood, only has a 2 villager lead. Sorry, Dark only has a 2 villager lead, so MbL is catching up a little bit, but his economy is messy. He is able to catch up here and there just because he has so many extra town centers. But this is where the entertainment is going to be, and just like that, losing the cavalry archers, it can't happen at this point in the game because MbL doesn't have a way to replenish those quite as quickly as the knights are getting replenished, or the siege equipment. We've seen all sorts of siege equipment from Dark, with the Scorpion now coming out, still on the 1 town center. He is forward with another villager, and villagers falling left, right, and center for MbL, as this mangonel will also be taken out. It does get the battering ram, but at what cost? These knights have done so much damage in the back wood line. 10 villager lead now for Dark, so even with those extra town centers for MbL, it's still not enough. Look at all of the idols right now. 10 idle villagers were inside of those town centers for how long? And that is just a massive problem. Building a market right now to sort of try to buy his way into the game, but he does not have the gold income right now. He does have quite a few, but still not quite as much as he would like to buy his way back in, as his first town center is already down. And this is becoming the beginning of the end for MbL. Of course, the quick walls will protect his army for the time being, and it will protect this little area that is so important. That's the only wood line that MbL has safe access to, as this is wide open in the back. Even just 1 or 2 knights from dark would clear up all of those villagers. And the cavalry archers able to do quite a bit of work at this point in time, with the town center fire helping as well. That does obviously give a big advantage to the Magyar player, but I don't believe it's enough. With the mangonel on the front taking out this town center, the knights able to fight right underneath the town center and running away now that the entire cavalry archer units have been taken out. I don't know if there's been a single conversion yet in this game. These monks have not been paying off at all for MbL, and it has just been a massive investment of gold. I think this is one of those situations where it was good to have gone for the economic approach, but it was not the winning strategy. Should he have changed and added more military, given up on his economic approach, he might have had more of an advantage, even if he could have dropped a defensive castle or some stone walls, something to protect a little bit more. That would have been enough. But right now, I mean, take a look at the economy. 18 villager lead, 19 villager lead for dark with less town centers and an untouched economy. He does have his second TC now, so that does give him the big advantage, because the 2 TCs of MbL are unable to produce at the rate at which dark is able to produce. And MbL, he's going to hang on as long as he can. Both of them losing a mangonel there, and this wood line in the back is slowly dwindling away, and this one over here, though walled in, is still very vulnerable to knight attacks. The knights, of course, having the +2 defense already, don't have any attack upgrades. That is interesting to see. I would have expected some attack upgrades, and the knights are going to the west. They're going to go try to do as much damage as possible, leaving these mangonels a little bit vulnerable for now, but the knights decide to turn back. Interesting choice. And the mangonels, honestly, these 2 mangonels able to engage quite well, as the first conversion that I've noticed comes in and it gets converted right back for dark. So massive shot there. And that is it. The GG is called right there. What can you do with knights in the back? No army is a response. Fantastic game.